We're live. What's up, all
Hey,
you
folks.
minties? I'm the Uncanny Omar. With me is this guy right here, Lawyer
Howdy, I'm Dan.
Dan. Lawyer Dan is with me today. And today we're going to be talking about comic books and pretty much like where the state of comics is right now. So my daughter just wanted to come and say hi. Okay. You can come say hi later. Doing live shows, man. So I hope everybody's doing okay, staying healthy, staying active out there, not going stir crazy, and just catching up on some backlogs. So we'll be talking about a couple of announcements that were made just yesterday, the latest announcements. So I guess before we get started, yeah, let's see where everybody's from. I see Texas representing, and earlier we had Andrea from Cancun. So envious of the weather that's down there right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's cold here.
Spring was here, and then spring said, yeah, I'll be back in a little bit.
That's what happens in Kentucky, though, right? Rick, you also from Texas, man. We got a couple people from Texas. All right. So yeah, I've always heard that about Kentucky. It's like, well, if you don't like the weather, just stick around long enough and change the next day. UK and Australia, Belgium. Why do you have a lawyer in the stream to
That's
cover our asses? No, Dan is he's part of our panel show, and I guess a couple of months. No, I guess it was last year sometime we did the whole Kappa episode.
Oh yeah.
And Dan was like, "I need a name because you're Uncanny Omar." And I'm like, "All right, man." And he came up with lawyer.
Did I come up with that?
I'm
or was
pretty
it
sure you did. No, I don't assign names. Call yourself whatever you want, man.
You don't assign names. Okay.
No, not like this. Kentucky. What's up, Mr. Body Massage? Represent Kentucky. Same here. Virginia, Serbia. What's up, guys? It's 1 a.m. here. Whoa.
Wow.
1 a.m. Thank you so much for staying with us. Moscow. What are your thoughts on the new Sandman universe? Actually, I wanted to talk about that in a little bit. Louisiana and the UK. Slovakia. 5 p.m. here. Question for later. Which Marvel run would you ask Manara to draw? Oh, he's already did. He did that X-Women issue, that one shot with Chris Claremont. Some phenomenal artwork. In Australia, huh? 1 a.m. Well, thank you so much, dude. Sweden, Portugal, Toronto, more UK. Tina should be joining us a little bit later, too. She's going to help out today and take some of the questions. What's up from Colorado? We're doing all right, Dom. How you doing, brother? How is New York? How's that up there, man? Now, I know that's where Marvel is, so I kind of keep in touch with David, but I don't know how are you guys doing out there? Turkey and Serbia. I love seeing all these different countries. That's so awesome. Kentucky. Yeah, we got somebody else from Kentucky. What's up, man? Why am I getting excited? Because I'm not even allowed to go out and talk to people from Kentucky.
I was going to say, when we're allowed to go back out, we ought to actually have a physical meetup.
Detroit. Inner Demons. Dude, I wish they would collect the Steve Englehart run, like a lot more of that Steve Englehart run. Reading that Silver Surfer Omnibus makes me wish they would have kept going. And honestly, the Omnibus, those haven't been reprinted in Epic format yet, so I'm hoping they get there. Greece and Norway. Any burning X-Men Omnibus you're crying out for, like a Volume 4? Yes! Yes, there are a ton of Omnis that I want. One of them, I think it's no secret, is New Warriors Volume 2. New York is a tad bit rough, to say the least. I can imagine. Omar, why do you need a lawyer today? Have you all met me? I need a lawyer every day. Dan is my personal lawyer. Many times that I've texted Dan, how would you handle this?
Wait, what?
Here's a question for you, Dan.
Would Iron Man beat Optimus Prime in a fight? I mean, no. That seems pretty straightforward.
They had that new Avengers Transformers IDW crossover a few years ago.
Did they fight in that? I don't even remember reading that. I know it was out, but
nobody really fought, So,
which is disappointing. Which is the whole point of having crossover issues,
right?
Why would you have Marvel and DC crossover if Captain America is not going to fight Batman?
Teen Titans versus Titans. Which show is better? The original cartoon, I think. Dan, did you watch the new Titans on DC Universe?
I've watched 1 or 2 episodes of it, but I'm gonna go for Teen Titans Go.
Whoa, you are so blasphemous. Teen Titans Go. It is ridiculous, but I loved watching it, honestly. What's up from Norway? Finished reading the Punisher Max series recently. What a phenomenal. Yeah, man, Garth Ennis. And having the Hellblazer Omnibus makes me... You know what I did, guys? I was like, I love Hellblazer, but I think I love Preacher a little more. So I've had the trade paperbacks, and I'm like, the Omnibus is coming out, but those absolute editions are gorgeous. And I broke down and got the absolutes. I'm just so weak. And I've had the trade paperbacks. I've been wanting to upgrade. It was just a matter of like, should I wait for the Omnibus? I love the story. It means so much to me, and that's why I upgrade. Actually, somebody suggested that I do an episode on why I decided to upgrade some books and keep some the same. Perth. What's up, Andrew? All this time, I didn't know you were in Australia, brother. What will be collected in Uncanny Volume 5 besides Uncanny Issues Missing? Oh, dude, they have so much. I want this. Okay, I want this to pass, right? Because it's a mess, the state that we're in. But the other reason is so I could actually now talk to David about normal things. Like, David, we need to put Firestar miniseries in Uncanny X-Men Volume 4 because you have Uncanny 193. It's important things like that I need to talk to him about.
They may not be thinking about this
right now, right? It's crisis time everywhere. And so in Volume 5, actually, I was going to do an episode with Riley. We were going to start a segment called Matt My Ex. I've asked my boy Peter M on here, and but he's a busy dude, and I get it, especially when you're a stay-at-home with your kids. It's weird that I can do more videos when my kids are not here than I can when my kids are here because quiet time, and they're amazing kids too. Like my kids are quiet when I ask them to be quiet, but they're at that age where they're bickering all the time at each other, 8 and 10, not getting along. And so I'm like, please give me 10 more minutes. I got to wrap this up. But yeah, we were going to do a segment where we discuss like what's left of the X-Men, what's left of X-Force, how would we put them in omnibus format if we had our dream omnis. As far as Volume 5, they have a lot, man. They not only have 194 to 209, but they also have like the Nightcrawler miniseries, the Longshot miniseries, the annuals, the Asgardian stuff with the crossover with New Mutants. So, and a lot of Arthur Adams artwork too. I cannot wait to have that in oversized format. So a lot of stuff. Lawyer Dan needs a superhero name.
So I was looking to see if I could change my name here in the chat, and I don't think I can without leaving and coming back.
You have to leave, which is not a big deal when Tina shows up. You come back with your superhero alter ego, man.
Here, let's do this.
We ain't gonna start that again because you all know I would, even if I had her on the show. All right, Dan left. All right, so now y'all just got me. Good morning, Derek. Another morning person. So thank you all seriously for joining us. And we decided to start this segment a few weeks ago to kind of just focus on the positive things in comic books because a lot of bad news out there, so I decided, let's just talk about comics and the things that we enjoy and look forward to later. What the hell kind of name is that?
Well, I was going through different superhero appellations, and there's amazing and spectacular, and I figured, what the hell.
You're not even a Spider-Man fan.
I like Spider-Man. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a diehard fan.
I like Spider-Man. Look, they're coming up with names for you, dude. The Mighty Dan. Morning, brother. Quick question. Quick ask a question while the lawyer. Well, he's not a lawyer anymore. Tesla. Actually, I kind of like that.
That's not bad. I'm coming back with that.
Freddie, that's why I said somebody suggested what was it, Dance Former or something like that, which I thought was funny and witty. But I guess he didn't take Dapper Dan. All right,
There we go.
we're gonna stick with that, man. We're sticking with Dazzler Dan.
The whole show instead of actually talking about anything interesting.
Well, I always wait for the beginning anyway for people to come on in, and then we can start discussing the important matters. All right. Hey Omar, do you ever read any traditional novels? Let me translate that for people that don't know. Books without pictures. They actually make them. Yeah, I think I discussed. Didn't we talk about that last?
Yeah,
last
we
week?
talked about that a little bit
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah, we did, and it was a lot of fun. Dan reads a lot of the
sci-fi and fantasy.
He reads a lot. Who's your favorite?
Less so than I have been. Over the years, I've found that it's funny. We all complain about how the internet impinges on our time, but like that's one of those constant things where it's like I find, okay, I spent 20 minutes on Instagram instead of just picking up a damn book.
Oh, that's why one of the things I do is like my Facebook app just takes me directly to the Facebook Omnibus collectors group. Like I don't do regular Facebook unless I'm actually like, hey, I wonder what my friends are up to.
Yeah, man, I broke down this week and rejoined Facebook after like 2 years of cutting it off, and it was a mistake. I was drunk.
Did you get in a rabbit hole of political debates?
Well, no, like for the first 2 or 3 days, like as just people I'm very close friends with and whatnot were I was adding and adding them, and they were adding me back, and it was like, oh look, it's just everybody's updates, and then like I added 2 or 3 people, and then I was like, oh, there's all the political stuff that I left Facebook for.
Here's a good question for both of us. Omar, which Star Wars epic collections from Dark Horse era would you turn into an omnibus? The Dark Empire, right? I think I love that book, and I actually have the hardcover edition that my buddy Kyle sent me.
Yeah, I mean,
Empire trilogy. I think I would make a phenomenal omnibus.
That, but I would also love to see a Tales of the Old Republic omnibus. I haven't read all those stories, but there was a trade a while back that started collecting some of the like introduction of the Sith stories, and the Dark Horse take on the Sith mythology was so much fun. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see all of those collected, and I don't even know how many there are.
There's a ton.
Sure there's a ton,
but a lot of them are being collected by Marvel in their Epic line now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they're doing a damn good job of just pumping those out. I think every year they do 2 a year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I should pick those up. Some of that I got Star Wars out when we were without.
You use it as a verb?
Well, we were without Star Wars for so long, and then Heir to the Empire came out, and then the new series from Dark Horse, and then the new toys, and then all of a sudden new movies, and then Star Wars just hasn't gone away since then. And it reached a saturation point where I was like, I gotta back up from this, or else I'm gonna be broke and have no time. So
I guess one could say that about just most hobbies, though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, Star Wars more than most is a cultural zeitgeist that just it can take up your entire consciousness if you let it.
Well said. So here's another question for you, since I get a lot of questions, and I'll go back in here and start. Have you read the 2 Skyward?
I have. Yes, I have read those 2 Skyward books. I really enjoy them. I thought I enjoy stories that, because Sanderson in particular, like his books are, and he's very upfront about this, as much as they're character stories, they're also explorations of different types of magic. And I enjoy seeing, even if it's not intentional, the way that he's still doing that in the context of a sci-fi story. So, yes, 2 thumbs up.
There you have it. Bruce, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, about the DCBS thing. Maddie's going to join us here in a little bit, and so is Tina. So let's wait on them. And oh, dude, what a good question. X-Men trivia for Omar. What was the first issue of the Fastball Special, and who did they use it against?
Tibbity tabbity tibbity tabbity.
Dude, I want to say it was when the X-Men were fighting, and it was in the giant size issue, the special 100. I want to say it was then. But who the hell? The one where Professor Xavier's having the X-Men fight the other X-Men. Who did they use it against? Man, maybe the robot versions of the X-Men? I really don't remember, but I want to say that's where it first started. The catchphrase started. Omar, do you have European do you read? Yes, I do. And I'm actually making a list of my top 10 favorite European comics according to some of y'all that wanted to watch those and have taken an interest in what I like to read for some reason. But yes, I do. And I have more than 10 favorites, so it's damn hard to come up with 10. Just 10, I mean. Are we getting any out-of-print Spider-Man books this year? Reprinted, you mean? Not that I've heard. And honestly, with everything pushed back, probably, Jesse, I say maybe next year's when they might focus on Spider-Man and probably Fantastic Four. Hope everyone is doing great. Reading Mouse for the first time this weekend based off your recommendations halfway through. Excellent read, man. I think that's one that I recommend to schools, too. I think it's like must-read books. Like I know my wife had it in her school library for her high school students, but it's a very important read. And we have a poll actually on our Patreon for our old reader, new reader for the last week of April, which book to read for the book we're going to be discussing on this April 28th. And right now it's tied between I Kill Giants and Mouse. So it's going to be pretty interesting how the tiebreaker ends up. Yep, 100. It was the Sentinel version of Angel. Good job. Close enough. My man, thank you. Love your name, Asian Johnny Depp. Yes, I get a no prize. I love winning those. I have a stack of them here already. Let's see. Does Dan know any other lawyers who read comics? That's a good question. Do you have any, like, have you ever, or collect Transformers? Like, they ever see your Transformers on your shelves?
No, I haven't. The closest that I've come to this is when I worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Lexington for a couple of years back, and it was when Pokemon Go was big. So there would be a group of downtown folks who would use Discord to meet up to take on gyms occasionally, and there were a couple of lawyers in that group. That's the closest I've ever had to being like, oh, you are other geeky lawyer friends.
But to be fair, everyone was playing Pokemon Go.
That's true. I mean, there are some folks I went to law school with who may be reading comics, but not that we ever talked about. I could see them doing it.
It's the only one I found next to my, like, I just opened the drawer. I'm like, I gotta get a shirt on. Really quick, that summer, I will never forget that Pokemon, like the summer of Pokemon or whatever. That I've never been a Pokemon player, right? I never played the games. I never watched the anime, but my brothers both did, and so did my cousins. And I remember I was working in Seattle, and my wife and I decided to go to the park, check out the parks, and the park was just filled with people looking at their phones, just everyone like catching Pokemon. And I'll never forget. I'm like, oh my God, this feels like the world ended, and then my brother and cousins recreated the world in their image because everyone was playing, like people in suits, kids, grandparents. It was insane. My wife was playing it, and we were on top of Mount Rainier, or we were going to Mount Rainier, and she was trying to catch Pokemon up there. I'm like, damn, your ass is dedicated. Like, that's crazy. We're in one of the most beautiful sites in this country, and you're like trying to catch Pokemon. But yeah, man, I'll never forget that summer. It was so Twilight Zone-ish almost. But I'm glad that it brought people together for just that one summer, though. That was nice.
Well, it brought everybody to the same place apart.
Right. Hi, Omar. Glad you're doing well. I bought the Nancy Collins Omni solely on your review. Thanks, man. I hope you enjoy it. It's not one that gets, for some reason, a lot of praise, but it's a damn solid run. Omar, do you think there'll ever be a Silver Surfer Omnibus too? I would love that, but we still need to have like the rest of the epics collecting the Steve Englehart stuff. So it's going to be pretty interesting how they decide to do that. Oh, look who's here. And in
Hey,
cosplay even. Are you doing a TikTok? Is that why you're doing this?
I will be doing it later.
It's just a constant TikTok.
I got it. I got to now. I know this is a Q&A for the panel, but I got a personal question for Tina. Can you not stop talking in TikTok? When you did your little intro thing for our latest episode, the way that you talked, you were moving in TikTok like movements. Can you not do that anymore? Like, is that something you're stuck in?
I did it near the end. It's like you get into character, and that was right before I started filming. So I was getting into character.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Any chance for that Daredevil by Bendis and Maliv Ultimate Collections reprint? I would say so, but honestly, right now, I think they're trying to see exactly how much they were able to sell of the Omnibus, but it's kind of hard because things just kind of fell apart when that book was reprinted and from printer
Omar,
to diamond.
You know it's not about the money.
What? Have you met Disney? I'm pretty sure you have. Will the Ed Brubaker Captain America Omnis be reprinted? I think so, man. One day, I'm sure. Like I said, I think as far as like the big two, Marvel and DC, if you stick around long enough, reprints are coming. Especially 2020 was the year of reprints. We're off to a slow start right now, but that's nobody's fault except for Mother Nature or whatever. Omar, just an idea. Top 10 runs of a certain character. Spidey, FF. You want to see an omnibus? Oh, whoa! Tina, write that down.
Okay.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Remember it, Kat.
Really? This is why we can't get anything done. All right. Reading Buddha, I believe it will lead me to reading Astro Boy. Tezuka, right? Yeah, I love that run. That I have all 8 volumes of that. And I remember, did I review that? I remember reviewing that. It was when Vertical had the rights to a lot of the Tezuka stuff.
Was that when you were writing articles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I remember reviewing that one. I love that book, though. But it's hard not to like Tezuka. There's a lot of things like the dude was writing Astro Boy, and then he was writing adult comics. The guy was just all over the place. Only lived to be 60 years old and accomplished so much in that lifetime. Oh, well said, Hayden. The summer of Pokemon Go is the closest we've come to World Please. I agree with that. It was such a nice summer.
It was a nice summer.
Now watch somebody Google it. That's the summer we had the most deaths due to malaria or something.
I did try to get somebody tried to pick me up while I was doing Pokemon Go. It was kind of a weird, not scary, but scary event. Like some random dude just pulled up in his car and he's like, do you guys need a ride? I was like, no.
Oh,
no,
physically pick you up.
Yeah, physically, like, hey, get in the car.
No, he was asking.
I got some Pokemon back here.
I'm like, no, thank you. We're Pokemon hunting.
I got some Psyducks.
Look, he saw a pretty girl, saw that you had something in common with him, and was just trying to holler. You can't fault a guy for that.
You're out in public.
Right? And you're out in public.
Next, he was popping his trunk, putting me in,
You think the worst of people, I swear.
It was just a meet cute.
For someone who mostly has trade paperbacks and graphic novels, would you recommend getting into collecting single issues? I think it depends on what the reason is. Like, if you just want to read them, I mean, there's digital outlets that you can read them until they're collected in collected editions. But if you want to start collecting them for the sake of collecting them, then of course. Dan, Tina, thoughts?
Yeah. It also depends on like Omar was saying, why you want to collect it, and as much, Omar, I think you collect the bound editions just because you like the big physical object that is a display piece as much as anything else, right? I mean, whereas I've got no. I'm saying in comparison, like I buy more single issues than I do collected editions, but they're sitting in boxes over here behind my lazy boy because that's the place where I keep them.
Visually, yeah, I like the idea of books on shelves. But I've always been like that. Yeah.
Well, I do too. But I also just like the instant gratification of here's a book that I have in my hand that I can read, and then, but
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to
If
say.
I were
like,
smarter, I'd buy the collected versions. Let's put it that way.
if it's something I'm really into and something that's really new, I'll pick them up. But if not, I'll just wait.
Okay, there you have it. There's some really good questions. William, Omar, do you think DC will ever reprint the Catwoman stuff from the early 2000s, the Brubaker and Cook? I wish they would do an omnibus of that. That's one of my most wanted omnis, because that run is phenomenal. And honestly, even the Will Pfeiffer run was pretty good too as a follow-up to that run. Oh, Simonson's Thor versus Jason Aaron's Thor. Woo! I'm gonna go and say, Dan, you've read Simonson's, right?
I have read Simonson's, but I haven't read Aaron's. So with that, I'm going to say Simonson's.
Aaronson's phenomenal, but one issue in Simonson's, and Dan's going to know which one I'm talking about. He stood alone that day with the double machine guns, the Scourge issue. You know what I'm talking about.
You're not talking about Thor being turned into a frog?
No. One issue makes me choose the Walter Simonson Thor over Jason Aaron's Thor, and that is the Scourge issue. That will make a grown man cry. You know what I'm talking about? When he stood on top of the mounts of freaking hell demons coming after him with two machine guns. They won't sing any songs about him. Oh, dude. Even thinking about that. Woo. Yeah, it's a Walter Simonson Thor. If we had shirtless Omar, this would be picked up. No.
Show your feet, Omar. Just show.
Omar, shut up, Tina. That's not why I have you on the show. Omar, top modern Marvel writers. I think we can all answer this.
I think Omar's answer is obviously Brian Michael Bendis.
He's not at Marvel anymore. You suck.
Yeah, but still worth the joke.
You know what's interesting is that right now, and I think this is really nice. A lot of the comic book writers, in order to help out comic book stores, have a price for you to do a Q&A with them, right? Like Donny Cates, all those guys are trying to help out comic book stores, raising money by you giving them money, and they donate them to comic book stores. Brian Michael Bendis is one of them, and he's charging $200. And a couple of my viewers email me going, "Man, you should so do that." And I was like, it would be the weirdest interview because, like, Bendis gets a pass because he's such a good human being, but I just don't enjoy like a lot of his 90% of his stories. So I don't even know what I would talk about. Like, hey man, how's your kid?
Question for you, Omar. Do you like the Bendis Malieve Daredevil run?
Yeah, I did, but I don't think it's like game-changing phenomenal like a lot of people did. But I know that sounds blasphemous, but that's just my opinion. Like, I prefer the Brubaker run, right, which followed right after the Bendis and Malieve. I know, and like as a comic historian, you appreciate what it did for the character and what it did for comics. But yeah, it was good. Not the best. So back to the question. Yeah. Right now, the people I enjoy are Jonathan Hickman, Donny Cates, Chip Zdarsky. Those are my top 3 dudes. They are killing it over there. I highly enjoy everything that they've written. Dan, what about you? You're keeping up with some of this stuff.
Well, I mean, but you know, Hickman and Zdarsky are pretty much the entire Marvel output that I'm reading right now. But what is Donny Cates writing that you enjoy? I know I associate his name with Venom, but what else is he doing?
He did Thanos,
okay,
which is an awesome story, which introduced the Cosmic Ghost Rider. He's doing Thor right now. So after Jason Aaron left, what's up, Maddie?
Howdy.
Hey.
And Maddie, I know she's making us look bad. I had to go find a shirt. So, and he's worked on a lot of cosmic stuff. He's done Guardians of the Galaxy. He did the Black, Silver Surfer Black.
Okay.
Which is kind of a spin-off of the Guardians run that he did. And yeah, and honestly, I would throw Al Ewing in there. I think he is finally getting the praise that he deserves this last year with Immortal Hulk. But the dude's always been a great writer. What about you, Maddie? I know you just jumped in and probably aren't ready. Do you have any top modern Marvel writers that you enjoy?
Jason Aaron. I feel like that's the first I ever talk about, but that's a big one for me.
There you go. That's a good answer, though. We just had a. Who do you prefer, Jason Aaron Thor or Walter Simonson Thor?
Well, Jason Aaron because that's the one I've read.
And Dan's was Walter Simonson because that's the only one he read. And mine because of one damn issue.
Oh, by the way,
issue.
I fixed it so I can select comments again.
Yay!
Welcome to the show, Maddie. So you want? All right, good.
I think I know why you like Aaron, Maddie. You like it because of Jane Foster, don't you?
Well, his whole run on Thor was wonderful. Like because I wasn't big on any one like Avengers like single story yet. Because I love the movies, but I hadn't gotten into the Avengers really with comics until I read his whole run, which I thought was wonderful. But I also love fantasy stuff a lot, so you get that with Thor.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a lot of especially when the characters have a league of their own realms, right?
Oh yeah.
That stuff kind of reminds me of fantasy elements like Lord of the Rings and things like that.
Crying in comic books.
I'm of the belief that we'll never see a Bagley and Bendis Ultimate Spider-Man run reprinted since Marvel has now done away with the Ultimate Universe. Your thoughts? I'm under the belief that anything's possible. They just reprinted the Ultimates Omnibus. So I'm thinking maybe we'll get an Ultimate Spider-Man reprint and then finally get an Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 2 like a lot of people have been wanting. But that's me. Maddie, feel free to pick any question out or comment.
I'm catching up.
Okay, you catch up.
Through.
Omar, do you think they will reprint Wolverine Epic Collection Volume 1? Yeah, they will. I mean, Marvel has stated several times that a lot of their Volume 1s for the Epic Collections are going to be evergreen, meaning that they will always be in print.
Nice.
It's just a matter of when they can get them reprinted. Also, one thing about them is that they cost a lot more than your regular trade paperbacks. So they cost to produce almost as much as a Marvel Masterwork.
Why?
But just the reproduction going into them and how many pages there are. I mean, you're talking about almost 500 pages worth of comics for about $40 to $45 compared to half as many pages in a Marvel Masterwork sometimes for $75 to $100, right? So it's kind of hard to go and debate the reprint or the necessity of a reprint for something like that doesn't give you much overhead. Maddie?
Yeah, so I saw Freddie knows what I like, so he's but yeah, I definitely like Kelly Thompson and Mariko Tamaki. I mean, I like anything Mariko Tamaki does, but like across all of the publishers, I am very pleased with her writing. And he also mentioned Teenie Howard, which I haven't read any Teenie Howard yet, even though I follow her on Twitter, and I really do want to jump into her Nebula run also.
I agree with Kelly Thompson. I have not read anything that she has done that I did not like. Her Hawkeye run was solid. Her Gambit and Rogue run was solid. She has a really deep understanding of these characters, and I really enjoyed that about a writer. Teenie Howard is kind of hit and miss with me. I think some of the stuff I wasn't a fan of her Excalibur run.
Mm-hmm.
Think Jeff Johns should pull at Bendis and go to Marvel. Oh, dude. Yes.
Well, right now, I mean, I don't think we're going to see Jeff Johns do any comics for a while, it feels like, unless I've missed something.
What do you mean?
I just want Jeff Johns back in, because he's been working on TV shows more primarily lately, right?
Yeah, he was part of that deal whenever DC and Warner Brothers and all that.
Yeah.
Like, he was part of the head of Green Lantern. And I don't know if he's going to do the HBO stuff or not, though. I don't know. I'd love to see him return to comics.
I just would love for him to run DC.
It would be nice.
Dream.
It would be nice to have him back. But, I mean, Marvel had him for a little bit. He did an issue of Ultimate X-Men, and he did Avengers. His Avengers run I really like. I love his Avengers run. And it happened between the Kurt Busiek and the Bendis stuff. Okay, yes, Chuck Austin was in there too, but I didn't want to mention that.
For me, I've never had to pay for anyone to sign my book. But at the same time, I've never asked anyone to sign it without it being dedicated to me. I know some comic book creators do charge if you are asking for them just to sign it, because usually it ends up being back on the market.
So, yep.
Yeah, but I've never had to pay anyone to sign anything personally.
There are some comic book creators that give you a limit to, like, I think 3 free signatures. And then a lot of them ask for donations for the Hero Initiative, which, if you're not familiar with that, these creators don't have retirement. They don't have a lot of things like insurance coverage and things like that, especially if they're freelance artists or freelance writers. So the Hero Initiative helps with that, whether it's sadly funeral funds or helping out a lot of these writers and artists that we love from our past with insurance and things like that. So I don't mind ever chipping in. Like if somebody has it and I have cash at a convention.
Oh yeah.
And like Peter David, Mark Wieringo was a big pusher for that. Pusher sounds like a drug dealer. He wasn't. Before he passed away. So I never minded like giving money to them. Omar, do you think the FF is too badly damaged as a product to ever be as popular as the 60s stuff? Maddie, I thought you were praying, and then a cat came down.
I thought she was like, I have opinions on this, and no, it's just
no, she's just wrecking my shit in here.
I'm glad you picked this one because I'm curious to get your take on why people might think the Fantastic Four is badly damaged. Because I mean, frankly, it's never been a book that I've been particularly fond of, regardless of whether it's the 80s or 90s or now.
I mean, it is regarded as the beginning, the mother of the Silver Age, and the mother of like storytelling, story arcs, right? And at one time, it was the world's greatest magazine. And
okay, but just because you write that at the top of it doesn't make it true.
Shut up, Dan.
How long ago was that, too? I mean, like,
well, I mean, they've always used it, right? That's always been at the top of the magazine. Yeah. That's how you sell them. They have had some phenomenal runs, though. I mean, I'm not talking just Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Jonathan Hickman, Mark Waid, John Byrne, Walter Simonson, George Perez, Tom DeFalco. Like Tom DeFalco's run was phenomenal to me. It doesn't get a lot of love for some reason, but I loved it. I don't know the huge rumor, and there is no facts behind this. The big rumor about the Fantastic Four was they canceled the comic book due to the property being at Fox, right? That's the big rumor. Nobody has ever come forward and said that's exactly why. I'm sure, if you ask Marvel, they were like, well, the sales weren't that great. That's why we decided to cancel it. Right after, James Robinson's run. And then they brought it back. I mean, even the Fantastic Four characters themselves disappeared during the Secret Wars. Yeah. Right? It wasn't until Johnny and Ben came back in those little Marvel 2-in-1s or whatever, and then Dan Slott brought back the comic book. I don't necessarily call it damage. I think it depends on who the creator is, right? I think if they get a proper, and I love Dan Slott's Spider-Man. I think his run was solid, but his FF is it has its ups and downs.
But is it a case where the whole idea of the superhero family is just one that doesn't get purchased with comic fans today, do you think? Or is it just that I
blame Incredibles.
It's kind of a played out story. I mean, no, frankly, and that obviously can apply to any property of these that have been around since the 60s.
And I feel
that's a long time ago.
It is, right? And I think of stories like that, like when Iron Man, right? I'm like, how many more stories can we tell of a dude in a suit? Right? Well, how have they not run out of ideas? And the common theory has always been like every 7 years we retell the same story over and over. And you read comic books long enough that you're like, I feel like I've read this twice before. And I don't know. I think it really depends on who comes in and writes Fantastic Four. I don't think it's a damaged property per se. I think it's more about the creative team behind it. And yeah, and honestly, I was kind of half kidding.
I feel like stories like that do better if you really are focusing more on the characters and their relationships than you are focusing on the bigger overarching like villain or like battles. Because a lot of like comic books, like superhero comic books, tend to go from like, okay, bad guy to bad guy to bad guy to overarching story to bad, like it's like fight, and here we go. But I feel like with something like that, you really do need to focus on the characters more. You need someone like a Jeff Johns, right? Someone like a Wade that really understands character development, interaction, and relationship building.
And it's not like
to be impactful.
Yeah, and it's not like Slot's not doing that, because I think he's brought a little bit or a lot of that into his FF run. I think it's also like, when I mean creative team, I don't mean just the writer, also the artist. Like Sarah Pacelli was on the art, but she's phenomenal, but her art just takes forever to draw. So a lot of those issues were delayed. And you all know how much sometimes delayed comics kills the momentum of the books.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a good question, but I hope we get a proper creative team in there. And when I say creative team, I want them in there for more than 2 years. And I know that's kind of hard because writers get burned out, but I'd love to have somebody there for 5 years, 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
You never see that anymore. Without, their own, like, creator-owned property, you never see creators come into a book and, like, stay for 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Rare exceptions like Bendis, right?
I think a lot of ongoing stories really hurt because your main writer creative team moves on to something else.
Yeah.
I think that kills a lot of series for sure. And I know it can't be like Japan, right? Where you have just one creator in charge of this thing forever. But I would really like to have longer runs again.
I would love that.
I've appreciated those that do,
Mm-hmm.
and not to talk about Aaron again. But I'm very thankful that he was there throughout that. I'm glad that he got to see his vision to fruition. Like, I'm very glad.
He was there, 7 years, I think,
Yeah.
on Thor.
Yeah.
Bendis killed it on Ultimate Spider-Man. He was there for over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So, how good is Saga? I think we've all read it. It's
Really
excellent.
good.
And that's one of those even like non-comic book readers, like
What then? Did you just...
the robot sex really didn't work for him. He's like,
What? Oh, if anything's
No.
going to work for Dan, it's that.
he's
Yeah,
like, no,
let's be
action,
honest.
Of course, that one was good.
No, it's funny though, because we talked about Preacher last week and how it didn't age well for me going back and rereading it, and it kind of felt like a bit of the 90s violence for violence sakes.
Mhm.
Whereas Saga, I enjoy the story and it's good and all, but even reading it now, it feels like a little bit risque for risque's sake, which is not necessarily bad.
Yeah.
But it just, after a while, it was kind of like, okay, I feel like this is almost getting in the way of the storytelling.
A little gratuitous in some aspects.
I don't know. I never felt that way about it. Like, I think it was natural. It's not like everybody's banging each other. It's mainly just a couple of characters that are gratuitous about those things, right? I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't read it. I'm just right. It would be different if it would be different if it was like The Sopranos or Game of Thrones, where everybody's doing this.
I mean, and I'll say it's not that I ever say, oh, this is horrible, I don't want to. I just kind of quit buying it. It wasn't like I don't like this anymore. It was just like, okay, there are other things that bump up into what I'm actually going to spend money on.
Okay.
And I got shoved out.
Omar, please explain your distaste of Brian Michael Bendis. Is there something specific?
I don't have enough time.
Too many? Really quick.
This is kind of like cilantro. Some people like it.
Yeah.
Some people think it tastes like
It's a genetic thing.
Honestly, I think there were some things that he did, and I appreciate a lot of what he does. He is amazing for bringing new readers in. So if you're not familiar with Avengers, his new Avengers is one of the greatest jumping on points. And I don't even like talking about jumping on points. If you're not familiar with X-Men, I think his X-Men run was so simple that I don't even want to say downplaying, but any new reader could pick it up and be like, oh, these were the original 5 X-Men and now they're living here. Cool. These characters are like this. And that's why a lot of people really enjoyed his Ultimate Spider-Man, because it was a fresh take on that character that they were familiar with, but they really didn't know. For me, it's all about characters, right? Like how well characters are written. A character to me has to sound a specific way. And if you can't get the character's voice or understanding, then either you didn't do your homework or you didn't care enough to come in and write the characters. And he's written a lot of characters out of character. He's got some voices down. But then just retconning, man, that's big to me. Somebody that's reading comic books for so long, and I know I have to get over it because there's some things that I had to in order to enjoy, like Hawkeye. We talked about that. That to me exists in a little pocket universe. But that's my main beef with him, man. Main beef with Bendis is just, yeah. I don't think he sometimes does the homework to respect the characters enough to write him. But you know what? I appreciate what he does, and like I mentioned earlier, he is a wonderful human being. Maddie, have you read The Goon?
I haven't, but I love Harrow County.
I'm gonna go with Harrow County. It's great. Production errors in the Justice League International #1. I think it was oh damn it, was it? I think it was just word bubbles that were missing. That was it.
That's not a small problem though.
No, but it was in one page and they reprinted it. Maddie, feel free to pick out questions.
Do you have a favorite formation for Teen Titans? Manual is the 80s one and even the 2011s one.
Don't we all? Hell yeah. Dan apparently says Teen Titans Go.
Well, it's funny though, because I mean the Teen Titans Go characters is the same formulations as New Teen Titans, right?
I was gonna say it's the Mark Wolfman and Jeff or George.
I mean the Judas Contract era Teen Titans.
Except no Donna.
That's right, because she was a confusing character to be added to the cartoons, I'm sure.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to go with Jeff Johns' first relaunch of Teen Titans. So you have Robin, Cassie, Superboy, Beast Boy, Impulse, which I think he was going as Kid Flash then, if I'm not mistaken, Raven, and then a couple other characters.
Good run. I forget about that run.
Oh,
I don't know that I put it above Marv Wolfman, but...
formation of the team, not stories, Dan.
Yeah, true.
I'm a Titans fan over Teen Titans usually, so I like new Teen Titans and new Titans, but I really like Winnick's Titans a lot. So I like the OG crew but older.
See, listen to this. Last week, Omar and I were debating Dick Grayson versus Tim Drake, and now we switched roles.
Right? I'm a Dick Grayson dude. Tina, what about you? What?
Well, I can't speak. I didn't read DC until fairly recently. I was a straight off. I fell in that niche where it's Marvel only. So so that was about it.
That's like the redheaded stepchild of the Titans run. Nobody talks about. It's that Jurgens Teen Titans, which is good.
I'm a big Dan Jurgens fan too.
Grant Morrison's new X-Men. It's the comic book that brought me back into X-Men, but like a roller coaster, like most of his superhero stuff, ups and downs. Dan, What about you?
Absolutely. It brought me back in at that point. And then all of a sudden it's like, you're reading along. It's like, this is so much fun. And then you get done with it. It's like, that didn't make a damn lick of sense. And you go back and read it. It's like, I must've missed it. And you go back and no, it really didn't make a damn lick of sense. Like I
give Bendis a lot of crap for mischaracterizations, and I did not like Grant Morrison's take on Magneto. I hated Grant Morrison's take on Magneto. And this is Grant Morrison.
I was not thrilled with it either. Well, and the whole Zorn thing, which I still to this day couldn't put into coherent words of here's what the story was supposed to be.
Oh, and you know how I feel about retcon, so you know I hated Attack on Weapon crap. I hated that storyline. No, it's Weapon X, not Weapon 10. Don't give me that crap, Grant Morrison.
But I loved all the new School of Xavier kids for the most part. I like the idea that we were seeing, frankly, a few more mutants that were that would have traditionally in Claremont's X-Men been put into the Morlock camp as opposed to the X-Men camp.
Well, they kind of did in Genosha, right? With the Sentinels. E for Extinction. That storyline is phenomenal.
Yeah. So there's a lot to like there, but I think it wants to be deeper than it actually is.
Where's my boy? Rick disagrees. His new X-Men's run is the best X-Men run. Rick, as always, to each their own, my brother.
I will say I like the Cyclops from New X-Men.
Of course you do.
Of course I do.
Cheating whore.
What? The
He was
new
having
X-Men Cyclops?
Yeah, remember he was having a psychic affair with Emma. That's where it all started.
Oh,
Dan,
I'm sorry.
Dan, how soon we forget.
No.
He
I
just
was
sort of
confused because I was
washes
going to
over
all
that.
New X-Men. I thought we
Just
were
like,
going back to talking about Bendis again.
Oh, all new X-Men. No.
My bad.
Best Cyclops, though, was Astonishing X-Men Cyclops. That Cyclops owned.
No idea, but I wish we had it.
Me, you, Maddie, and
Everyone.
Tom Taylor wants Wolverine, Laura Omnibus.
Man,
All new Wolverine
Tina,
was
you
awesome.
would love it.
I would love that too.
Oh my gosh, she has an actual Wolverine. It's great.
And Honey Badger?
Oh
Who doesn't
my
want
God.
Honey Badger as a sidekick?
Honey
So
Badger don't
good.
care.
I'd love a clone of myself as my sidekick.
It's just the best. I assume that it's Berserk.
It's Berserk, dude.
Yeah.
Did you even have to ask? Yeah, Berserk, man. I love Akira.
Man.
But Berserk.
Does it kill you that those really nice figures are out from Berserk and you're not buying them?
Yes, of course, Maddie. It kills me, but they're $1,000. They're not figures; they're giant statues, and it's weird because,
They look really nice.
well, unfortunate circumstances means I have to also budget myself because of something going on. But I also had to cancel my pre-order for the bookends of the Berserk sword bookend.
Man.
Man.
Those things are beautiful too. So, you know,
Listen,
I
if
gotta
you guys at home want to start a GoFundMe for
no, dude. There's a lot more serious stuff out there that needs help than me wanting a Berserk fucking bookend. OMD or Sins Past. You know what? I'm gonna make that a poll on Old Reader, New Reader. Which one we read? One More Day or Sins Past? Both regarded as some of the worst Spider-Man stories ever, and rightly so. Omar, in your opinion, which one? Oh God! I took a break from reading Spider-Man after Sins Past. I stopped reading Spider-Man for 2 years after One More Day, so I guess One More Day. And I feel so bad for JMS because JMS has one of the best runs of Spider-Man ever. But yeah, man, those stories are bad. There were some really good questions over here about everybody. Like there was somebody that was asking about. Oh, wait, let's look at this one, and then I'll try to find it. Oh, there it is. I found it. What are you characters that you guys feel are underrated or deserve more frequent runs in comics from DC and Marvel? Also, do you think the collected editions should bumps as well?
Easy.
Maddie?
No one would be surprised by my answer. I would really like more Roy Harper and more Donna Troy in a run that doesn't end or kill everyone. That would be really great. I would love that. Also, now that I've read Animal Man, I really want more Animal Man. So,
like Grant Morrison, Animal Man?
No, I read Jeff.
She read Lemire's run.
Okay.
Oh, I love it. It's so good.
Morrison.
I did get that
Marvel,
reference
there's a
right,
lot
right?
of Marvel characters I want more of, but I don't know.
Tina, what about you? I'll let you all go first.
Which character?
Either DC or Marvel.
I would probably go with Domino. I know that's a sort of like a sideline character from X-Force, but I always loved that character.
No, Domino is getting some good runs right now.
Is
Gail
she?
Simone's writing Domino. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Also, Jimmy said Kite Man, and I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
What?
Or Kite Man.
Oh my God, Kite Man is
Omar,
such
you gotta watch Harley Quinn. I swear.
Oh,
all of you,
Harley Quinn.
I will
What
give
did
you my
read?
login. Please watch Harley Quinn. It's so good. It's so good. Kite Man is so good.
I believe you.
Oh man.
I believe you.
And
By the
so
way,
is King King Shark. Adorable.
okay. Tina, that's an interesting answer. I thought you were going to say Jubilee.
Well, I mean, so I would normally say Jubilee, but speaking about characters that I didn't really see or read much of when I was growing up was Domino.
Mhm.
Then also Typhoid Mary.
Ooh, good choice.
That would
That's
be another one.
it's a very interesting character to try to write.
She is a really interesting character, and I'd like to see more of that, especially right now. But
she's back in the current Daredevil run right
Yeah,
now.
it's the Darsky.
Jordan
What about
said Hyperion? I
yeah,
agree with that too.
Hyperion? He's an interesting character created by
Denver said
Mark
Captain
Grunwald.
Carrot, which is a hard pass.
Oh, I thought he said Flaming Carrot, not Captain Carrot. Okay. I was like, I like the Flaming Carrot. That's a good character. Dan, what about you? Marvel or DC characters?
Man, I've been thinking about this, and I just don't have a good answer because like the characters that I think are underrated are written that way on purpose. Again, see my love for Cyclops. So it's hard to answer that. I will say that man, I just don't have a good answer for it, because like I keep wanting to say like, a Daredevil, but he's getting a lot of great
Daredevil
stories right now, and
his runs have been great since
his runs have been great.
In Marvel Knight,
like, for who is really in most ways a second tier or third tier Marvel character, he gets some of the best stories ever. So it's almost like I'm answering the opposite of this question: is what character gets better stories than they probably deserve?
I was thinking and looking on my shelf, literally just about everything is collected in omnibus format, and because it deserves to. All the way from Marvel Knights, Daredevil by Bendis, then you have Brubaker, and then you had the Shadow Run stuff, which I know.
Well, and even
some people
before
hit and
that,
miss.
you got Frank Miller killed it on Daredevil.
Yeah,
for years. So yeah, that I realize I answered the opposite of the question. Sorry.
And for me is I miss my Thunderbolts. I wish they would come back. I'm gonna stick to New Warriors as my go-to answer, but
Omar wants a Stiltman miniseries.
do not. I'll take a long shot series though, and of course X Factor. And then we'll take a couple. I'm gonna take a couple more questions, and then we gotta talk a little bit about what's going on in the state of comics.
Well, actually, I need to go jump off. So.
Not before this question, Maddie. Who is everyone's favorite artist? Ladies first.
I get that's a hard question because I love so many.
So do your top three.
I'll say Stepan Sejic, Joelle Jones, and I don't know. There's more, but I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Tina?
I agree with Maddie Sejic. Also, Natasha Allegri. She and Bubby Cat. She also did storylines for Adventure Time as well as some other things. And then Fiona Staples from Saga. She's really amazing.
That's a good one. Whew, Dan.
I mean, it all comes back to Jim Lee.
Of course.
So I also have a secret love in my heart for Ron Lim from his Silver Surfer run back in the 90s.
He was drawing 5 comic books a month.
I know.
Sergio said Patrick Gleason. I'll just go ahead and I'll steal that one too.
You gonna steal that one? Okay. It's a good Ron Lim, yeah. For me, I think it's Mark Silvestri, Kentaro Miura, and I
didn't even think
John Byrne.
Japanese artist.
You didn't think Japanese artist, yeah. And John Byrne.
Oh,
those are the guys that were game changers for me.
Yeah,
maybe even Rumiko Takahashi as well.
Yeah, Rumiko Takahashi.
Yeah, she was a big game changer for me too.
I'm still a big fan of Naoko Takeuchi too.
What is
Sailor Moon?
Sailor Moon. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna go make some
question
coffee,
there.
or I'm gonna die.
All right, Maddie. Thank you for joining us for a little bit.
Bye.
Omar, The Crossing versus Batman Year 2. Guys, Batman Year 2 wasn't that bad. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get with Jess later today to talk about how amazing it is and why he thinks it's better than Year 1. Or maybe that's just me putting words into his mouth. Alex Maleev is a good artist, by the way. Jordan does not like Saga. And there was a couple other people that didn't like it and said it was overrated. So it's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So really quick, we're going to discuss what's happening in the state of comic books that we know so far. A couple of announcements were made yesterday, and I think we need to talk about it.
There
Sorry,
goes
Dan.
Dan.
I was
I'm
boring
just
Dan.
getting coffee.
Boring Dan, I guess. So around early in the morning, Diamond made a statement saying that they would be bringing books back to distributing books. Pretty much is what they made a statement saying. They confirmed that they were gonna be releasing books and trying to get books back out to stores and online retailers as of May 17th is when they want to, possibly end of May is when they want things back to normal. Now, one of the things that I find interesting is that right now they're working on a skeleton crew. So they're still able to ship out old books. Like, so if a store like Cheap Graphic Novels or In Stock Trades or Tales of Wonder puts an order in for something that's already been printed, like say something like from 2018, Diamond will still ship it to them at the cost, like they have to pay for the freight though. Which I find interesting because I don't know, unless it's another warehouse with new stuff, what makes it different to ship out something old than, stacks of Wolverine Omnibus reprints or Silver Surfer? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. So, that's something that they announced. And the reason they probably announced that was because DC made an announcement towards the end of the day yesterday that starting Tuesday, April 28th, they were going to start shipping books out using a different distribution center. So comic books.
I don't understand why they wouldn't.
So Batman 89, Daphne Byrne number 4, The Dreaming number 20, Nightwing 70, and Batman number 4, or Batman Giant number 4. Batman 89, by the way, is the third printing of the Punchline first appearance character. And then continuing forward with books on May 5th and May 12th. One of the things that a lot of people were trying to figure out is like, who are they using as the distributors is pretty much what people were trying to figure out. Like, why are they being hush-hush about distribution? Which, retailers are like, okay, who am I going to order my books from? They need to announce that, other than, hey, we're going to start sending books out. So as it turns out, and it started as a rumor, and just that they were going to use distributors or Midtown Comics and DCBS. And then later that was confirmed. So that's who's going to be distributing comic books. I don't know about collected editions. That's all I know. I got the email when everybody was throwing the emails out to people. And Marvel hasn't made a statement yet, and I don't want to, speculate anything, but I assume they're going to try to make a statement sometime. So it's interesting that they're using DCBS and, as I mentioned, the Midtown, because DCBS is the company that is they also own In Stock Trades and of course Tales of Wonder. So, and we've seen this before where comic book stores have become kind of distributors, and I don't know if this is a temporary solution or this is going forward. This is all the information that we have, and of course there's rumors everywhere. And y'all probably know which website I'm talking about when I talk about rumors that talk about confirmations of things. So that's all we know so far. I do find it interesting that the DC decided to keep to use DCBS as a distributor as well as Midtown Comics, because I know some retailers were pretty upset about that because they weren't transparent with it, right? And I guess as a retailer, you would be like, I don't know, that's like owning a Pizza Hut and then getting your ingredients from like Papa John's or something like that. But I'm sure there's a lot more to it than that. So that is what's going on right now. Those are everything. DC just mentioned that comic books are going to be back at stores because they just said they need to get these books out to the stores with or without Diamond. And I'm pretty sure that announcement from Diamond came from almost, I don't know, you're put into a corner, right? Like, hey, we are going on without you, whether you like it or not. We're going to start distributing these books with other people. And as the sole distributor, what are you going to do? So it's going to be pretty interesting times as like what happens next. And like I said, that's all we know so far. No announcements have been made from any of the other companies yet.
From a historical standpoint on that, were Marvel and DC ever their own distributors?
I want to say yes. Like back in the day, like of course I wasn't working at comic book stores until the early '90s when it was
Right.
Capital and Diamond. You had Capital doing manga, and I think they also had DC at the time. And then they would go back and forth as to who would have the publishing or the distribution rights. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm sure there's going to be changes within the next few weeks, right? Because another thing to keep in mind is that a lot of the states that we live in are also, we all have our own mandated things, right?
Right.
We're all run by the governors, right? Governor says, okay, lockdown or shut down, no businesses open. So if you own a comic book store, what's the point of, oh yeah, I can order comic books, but I can't sell them because I'm not essential. Curbside is one thing, right? But not everybody's like that. So I don't know what's going to happen. Like I said, I'm sure there's going to be some changes, but this is all that's going on right now. So,
all right. Well, I need to jump off here too. So
be good, brother.
I'll see you guys soon, and take care.
Man. Yeah.
Take care, Dan.
Now, and then there were two. So, yeah. So that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about the way things are going to be distributed from DC, and nothing yet from any other publisher. So I guess we'll see.
And they just announced it yesterday?
Yeah, the announcement came yesterday. Like, it started as a rumor, and then they made a solid announcement. Now, let's get back to the chat and start getting some questions answered here. I miss Mignola's regular art, not his writing. I miss him on books too. Do you know, man, he has been blowing up. Like, a lot of artists have stepped up, like Jim Lee, Mignola, Liefeld. A lot of artists have stepped up and started doing commissions or selling a lot of their sketches and art to support comic book stores. It's really nice. Like, it's awesome. Mignola's one, like drawing things like normally things you wouldn't see him draw, like Ninja Turtles or other characters like that. Order direct from creators. I mean, yeah, you could if you're not dealing with a publishing company, right? If you're not DC or Marvel, you could order directly from the creators. I'm finding Harrow County Library Edition harder to get than the other three. I'm wondering if it's sold out. I will say that Volume 1 sold out quick, and then they brought it back into print. So I don't think that one's going to go anywhere, brother. You just have to keep looking. And Dark Horse never announces reprints. They just put it back out. I heard they let you ship orders from DCBS in Midtown. Don't order directly from them. They are distributors that might offshot the part of the business. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work. I'm sure online retailers and comic book stores are going to get some kind of message, though. Marvel definitely did. They bought out Heroes World. That's right. All right, Tina.
Thank you.
What is your character for people that don't know? I actually know because of you and my kids.
It's Pearl from Steven Universe.
Pearl from Steven
Rebecca
Universe.
Sugar's creation, which recently ended. So,
how long was it on?
Oh God, 6 years, maybe. I don't know. I want to say 6 years.
I only buy collected editions. I think a lot of us are in the same boat. I mean, I hardly get any single issues. From time to time, maybe I will. Have you guys read the Black Hammer and Justice League? If so, how is it? I'm into Lemire's writing now, and he's awesome. He is, and I love the Black Hammer universe. And I will say that miniseries is not collected in the library editions that are coming out later this year. So I haven't read it myself. I know there's a deluxe hardcover out, though. What were the ramifications of 0 hours? What were the biggest differences before? It got us the Justice Society back. That was the biggest ramification. And then they set a new rule as to time travel, like how you can time travel. But as far as lasting effects, nothing really other than the JSA came back. Volume 2 edition is harder to find than any of the other 3. Okay, just give it some time, man. I promise that it's not out of print. It's just probably out of stock right now. Would you agree the distribution updates are good news? You need to emphasize on that. Yeah, I think that honestly, we knew choices had to be made, right? We knew that these are really difficult times for the decisions to be made because at least here in America, we don't know what's going to happen other than the promise of like, yeah, we hope to reopen everything back in 3 weeks or everything's going to go back to, I don't want to say normal. It'll be a new standard for sure, right? I mean, I'm sure things are going to stay with us forever from now on, such as the sneeze guards, right? The sneeze guards you see at grocery stores. I think those will stay.
Do you think once we get back to a new normal that they'll actually keep this like rearrangement of distribution?
I don't know. I think for once in comic books, the statement "and nothing will ever be the same" holds true. Because if your sole distributor completely shut down without any notice to you or anyone else,
yeah,
and then you, without telling your sole distributor, find another distributor to send out comic books, there are some relationships there that
I wonder what
simple handshakes cannot fix. Because I was going to say, then you also have contracts and things like that.
So that would be a good question for Dan. Like, what type of contracts are they breaking at this moment? What can you absolve because of, the weird situation we're in right now?
Yeah, that is a really good question. And I think like a lot of it has to do with, what a simple handshake, like, oh, well, we had to do what we had to do. Because as a business, you have to keep on going and then you have to find other outlets and they've tried. It's not like they haven't tried, right? Like they have been thinking for the last couple of weeks, like, how do we keep going? How do we keep the comic books momentum going? Because comic book stores need to keep the lights on, right? In order to do that, they need to have new comic books. So how do you keep it going without all these places going under? As far as good news, I think it's good news as far as getting new books. Of course, I'm happy. That means that soon we'll get some things back, like collected editions will be back. I just don't want anybody to make decisions because, they were just purely kind of pressured into it. Like, we're going to go ahead and announce this. Because as a nation, we ourselves don't know exactly what's going to happen here in the next coming weeks. We can say that, yeah, we flattened the spike, it's not, but we don't know if it's going to spike up and things will have to go back the way they were. So, but I'm happy some of you all will be getting some books now. Those who collect comics and then collected editions. Who's the hot rotting teenage from Dimension X, Tina?
Is that a Ninja Turtles reference?
That is a Ninja Turtles reference.
God, I can't even wreck my brain.
It was the neutrinos, wasn't it?
I think you're right. I haven't thought about that in a hot minute.
Barbara as Batgirl or Barbara as Oracle? Oracle. Always. I hated the fact that they made her Batgirl again. I mean, how many superheroes in a wheelchair are there?
Did she regain use?
During New 52.
Oh, that's cheap.
Yeah, but it was Gail Simone, and if anybody was going to do it, it was going to be her. And it was still a good read. It was just, I wish they hadn't done it. Omar, what characters do you think should get an Epic Collection run? Ghost Rider.
Really?
For sure. Yeah, he doesn't. A lot of characters have Epic Collections, and he's one of the few characters that either don't have complete collections. They have a couple of classics, but not really any of the Epic stuff. Why did Hulk Visionaries Peter David stop at 396? Will this be the case with the Omnis? No, because they continued with the Epic Collections. So the Omnis will not stop at 396. Omar, if you have time, could you please explain the DC Universe current timeline? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do some research on that too, man, because I get confused as to what's canon and what's not, or what is new universe, what is old universe. But I promise I'll make a video if that's what you want. Omar, what do you think the next Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Deluxe Beyond the Grid? The stories are not as strong as Kyle Higgins' stories. They're okay, but at least we're getting another collected edition. I'm upset that we're not getting a Go-Go Power Rangers year one. I was hoping we get a deluxe of that because Parrot's run on that was solid. Tina, how do you maintain your professionalism while working with some goofballs? Wait a damn minute.
I already answered that. I said I throw some pot shots at you guys sometimes.
Yeah, she does. She hangs with us. She can hang on her own.
When the camera stops, I usually let them have
That's when the fun begins. Like the behind the scenes we just get ridiculous. Babs will always be Oracle to me, just like Wally was my Flash. Same here, brother. Was somebody talking about Paranoia Agent?
Yes. I didn't see what Paranoia. Satoshi John, the same guy. I don't know what the first
Satoshi Kon. He's the guy that did Millennial Actress and Perfect Blue and Tokyo Godfathers.
He did the one. Okay, yeah, Tokyo Godfathers. That's the one I haven't watched, and I'm actually gonna watch it.
Oh, you haven't seen that? It's so
good.
And then his last movie was Paprika, and he was working on a movie, and sadly he died of cancer, and it was so sad. Like his dying note to his parents was the saddest thing I've read. Like, because he was talking about, I'm sorry, my movies didn't make enough money that I could leave behind you all some money to take care of my, funeral and expenses. And it was so heartbreaking. And the dude was phenomenal. And Paranoia Agent was his TV show. And I have the box set of that. It's wonderful if you've never seen it.
But that situation isn't, just strictly towards him. I mean, like a lot of mangaka live in abject poverty. I mean, except like Oda. There's a few exceptions.
Well, I'm sure there's a few exceptions that actually have their own studio. If Diamond disappears, then most smaller imprints are probably going to fail. Also, it's a double-edged sword, right? I think one of the things that will definitely go away is the big discounts that we used to have. But I mean, if you live overseas, you didn't get those anyway, right? Paranoia Agent. I didn't even know Toonami was still around.
I didn't either. Of course, I don't have cable, so
I haven't had cable in like 10 years, so I don't know.
No,
Have you read the Iron Man Michelini Leighton Omnibus? Highly recommended. Yes, absolutely. I wish they would do a follow-up, but the follow-up was the first Epic collection release. So I guess if you're not gonna do an omnibus, that one's all right. Ghost Rider needs another omnibus. I agree. Do I read Starman before reading JSA's run? Do they coincide? Maybe. You don't have to, but there is one thing that happens at the end of Starman that affects a character in the JSA, and I don't want to spoil that. So, yeah, of course I would highly recommend it, but you do not have to. It can be both series can be enjoyed by themselves. At this moment, we're not wrapping up or anything, but at this moment, I just want to remind you all, if you're watching this, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We put out videos every day, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. And you can find our swag on Redbubble, where it's a cool way to support the channel, as well as Patreon, if you can do so. And thank you to our existing patrons. What do you think of Peter David's recent runs at Marvel? It just finished Ben Reilly, and it was kind of horrible. Ben was nothing like the Ben I grew up with. But was it the same Ben? I don't think it was the same Ben, was it? I honestly, I've read the first issue. I like the Hulk one-shot he did. His X Factor run was phenomenal. His all-new X Factor, because that wasn't really recent. Did he do... Wasn't it Scarlet Spider? Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Sorry. He did another one, too. I can't remember what the other book was. There was another Spider-Man book that I liked. Omar, what's the latest on the sensational She-Hulk Omnibus? Will the DM cover be on cheap graphic novels? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. I don't know if Hachette got some to ship out to cheap graphic novels or other online retailers. I don't know anything about the status of that book, but I can ask. I know David's been really busy. Tina, who is your favorite comic book character? I'm pretty sure everybody knows mine. Who's yours, Tina?
I mean, like Jubilee.
Jubilee.
I mean, if we're talking Marvel Universe, like that's so hard to quantify because there's so many different like good titles. I could say like Marvel is, probably Jubilee is my most favorite.
All right. What about DC?
That's so DC. I've never really been too geared towards DC.
Just pick a character, Tina.
I have no freaking idea. What's some good DC titles?
Okay. Nightwing, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Come on, Tina. There's got to be at least one character that resonates with you.
I like villains. I like DC
you like villains? All right. Who's your favorite villain then?
Batman's Mr. Freeze, actually. I don't know if he appeared in the he was in the comics, wasn't he?
Yes, that's where he originated from.
I've never freaking read the comics.
The only character that didn't appear in the comic books that was originally
was Harley
Quinn, right? Okay, that's it. Yeah. I mean, there are other characters that were made for the animated show that did not appear in the comic.
Tragic backstories.
Okay, his is sad. I'll give you that.
Yeah, his is really sad. And it's all about his wife.
Yep. We do need a Starman Omnibus, and I was sad when that book got canceled. The Starman Omnibus got canceled. So I'm with you, brother. I want everybody to have a chance to read it. Either to be bored out of their mind if they don't like it and don't understand why the hype was all about, or to find the beauty within those pages. Omar, would you know if the X-Men epics will continue beyond Mutant Genesis? They collect both Uncanny and the Adjective list issues in the epic line. I want to say Mutant Genesis might be a good stopping point, kind of like where Spider-Man might stop at the Clone Saga. Because X-Men and Spider-Man are one of those titles that where do you stop, right? Because of Onslaught, most of the titles were rebooted with a new number 1. But X-Men actually doesn't have a stopping point. They kept going and going all the way past issue 500. But where do you stop calling it an epic line? White Cat Cosplay. Do you have a YouTube channel? Yeah, Tina, why don't you tell us about the YouTube channel?
It's called Near Mint Condition. And
there you go.
Occasionally I'll do lives with Maddie where we talk about anime. I need to do more. I really do. But I do TikToks mainly. Obviously, I do cosplay. So you can find me on TikTok at White Cat Cosplay. I am part of the Near Mint panel show.
Yep, she's with us every Thursday.
I just look vastly different sometimes in cosplay. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's the glasses.
Yeah.
How's Batman's Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale? Well, all those stories are awesome. I have the absolutes, so I don't have the omnibus. But Long Halloween and Dark Victory are some of the best Batman stories. Omar, do you think Dark Horse will ever make a Lone Wolf and Cub Deluxe Edition like Berserk? Yeah, absolutely. One day. They own the rights to that. I mean, we're getting Hellsing and we're getting Blade of the Immortal in Deluxe Edition. So, regarded as one of the best manga or comics ever, Lone Wolf and Cub deserves it. Besides, we've seen that in oversized, like the artwork in oversized format when it was released by Eclipse Comics. So, okay, so it's a Ben that was cloned and killed 1,000 times. It's totally a different Ben Reilly. That's what I thought. Symbiote Spider-Man, that's the other one he did. Yeah, I like that one. Omar, my copy of God Loves Man Kills literally got here for last week. Cannot wait to start. I can't wait for you to start either, man. That is my favorite X-Men story. What about the new Eternals Omnibus coming out? That's still scheduled to come out this fall. As far as if the date has been changed, I don't know yet. Are there really people that watch this awesomeness that already haven't subscribed? Bizarro type stuff. That is a good question. I don't know. You never know. You never know.
Who knows?
Do you as a group ever play board games? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Funny enough, ironically, Tina, would you like to say what the last board game that you and your lovely wife came over to play with me and my kids was?
Pandemic.
Of all the
Literally,
board games,
that was the last one. And we were teaching the kids about, this is how a pandemic
outbreaks.
spreads.
Ironically, and then 2 weeks later we have this shutdown, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Right. We're looking at Tabletopia too.
And that looks really cool. They have a lot of cool games on there.
The mobile doesn't look as great as the desktop, so it looks like you've got
desktop
a
is the way to
large
go.
collection. So yeah.
And then we're starting a NMC Dungeons and Dragons campaign here in a week, I think.
Yeah, my wife is going to session 0 actually is I think in a couple hours to help get your guys' sheets on par.
So Dungeons and Dragons was something I never got into, but I miss my friends, and I really enjoyed the times that we got together to play.
Yeah, and he's played it a couple of times now.
I have. I played with my kids.
Name?
My character's name is Hyperion Swordfist.
And
he's a Gary Lou. Is that what it's called? A Gary Lou? My kids taught me that. I'm like, what the hell's a Gary Lou? They're like, it's like a Mary Sue, except it's the boy version. I'm like,
yeah, he just likes to punch things.
Yeah.
Punch it.
He likes to hook up with chicks and punch things. He's awesome.
I'm surprised you didn't do like barbarian with him because it's just
He's
his
typical
attitude.
barbarian.
He is a typical barbarian.
I don't know things about
Let me punch
Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, Peter David did do a Spider-Man 2099. You are correct. You are correct. Oh, Tina. Question for you.
Outback Jubilee.
She hates Vampire Jubilee.
It was so, I mean, I know why they did it. I mean, Twilight was so popular at the time. They were trying to get into that niche market, and it just drove me nuts. Sorry. I love vampires. I absolutely love vampires.
New 52 Batgirl Omni, you in, Omar? Hell yes. Yes. Just because I love and prefer my Oracle Barbara doesn't mean that I'm not going to get that. So, you read G.I. Joe? One of my favorite comic books of all time is the silent issue of Snake Eyes. So yes, Larry Hamill's G.I. Joe is probably one of the most underrated runs. And I'm saddened when IDW did not finish out their hardcovers, so I have them all in the classic G.I. Joe trade paperback editions. God, I hope so. I hope we get a Mark Waid Flash Omnibus. That would be awesome. I mean, it's marketable, right? I mean, you have Jeff Johns and you have Mark Waid, two of the biggest writers that have ever written Flash. Sell those suckers. I did watch the Swamp Thing show, and my thoughts are I'm sad that we only got one season. I'm sad about that. Man, this question about Ultimates keeps coming up. I love it. Hey, Omar, do you think Marvel will ever reprint some of the Ultimates? Well, they just reprinted the Ultimates universe. Or, I'm sorry, the Ultimates Omnibus. So anything is possible. And if you're specifically talking about Ultimate Spider-Man, sure, I absolutely see that being reprinted, and I hope one day we get a volume 2 because I know a lot of you ask me that. There's not a week that goes by that I don't get asked about Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus, and if we're gonna get a volume 2 one day. Yes, Lionheart. I've been wanting that to happen for 2 years, and I have to play both sides, like Wolverine when he was with the Avengers and the X-Men. Near mint condition versus the Omnibus collector trivia. Let's do it. You know what? I'm gonna make that happen. Tina,
okay, let's throw in manga.
Oh, calm down.
And we got it.
Oh, dude, we would destroy those fools. I'm talking about my friends too. Omar or Tina, old style comic book covers or new style poster covers? Your opinion. I prefer the old as they usually. I'm with Tina. Old. I love the idea that I have an extra page of story in there, right? That's what got you to buy comics back then. Why is Cyclops fighting Storm? Nowadays, yeah, you just have a shot of Storm looking really hot or Cyclops looking really hot.
I mean, it's good eye candy, but it's kind of like why they stick these covers in the back of the book instead of the front of the book half the time. It's sort of like, oh, these are the covers. Whereas the old ones, they're kind of integrated in as the actual story. It hooks you into the story.
Let's see. How excited are you for the Criminal reprint, deluxe editions, volumes 1 and 2, and the new volume 3? Ray, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not excited because I'm a weak ass bitch, and I'm gonna double dip and buy them just because they say Image instead of what was it, Icon? Is that what it was? Criminal was released under the it was Icon, the Marvel Icon logo, and I already have the damn hardcovers. Then I have to pre-buy them because I'm stupid. So yes and no, I'm excited. Do you ever think we'll get an omnibus of the Scott Snyder metal? He himself said we were going to get an omnibus, so Scott Snyder. I don't know. Wait, Uncanny Volume 2 is out already? I thought that was an April release. Uncanny X-Men Volume 2? Because the reprint of Volume 1 doesn't come out until the summer, and Volume 2 comes out in September, I believe. Oh, dude, Joe. Oh, Joe's asking, do I think we're going to get a reprint of Tomb of Dracula Volumes 2 and 3 Omnis? Volume 2 and 3 are my most wanted Omni reprints, man. So I missed out on those. How would you map create a Marvel Comics Present collection trade epic Omni? My boy, Trigonosis. By character almost. So you would have a Wolverine Marvel Comics Present or X-Men Marvel Comics Present collection. Spiderman Marvel Comics Presents. And then I guess Squirrel Girl somewhere in there. Your first direct market variant omnibus. I guess that would be my very first omnibus, which was Uncanny X-Men. I went with the direct market cover because I bought it used, so I didn't have a choice. Tina, what was the thing I asked you to write down earlier? I forgot to write it down, damn it.
Have no clue. Forgot. Kat, do you remember?
You're the worst co-host.
Does it look like I have a pen?
I like that we're splitting this up. Maddie's on team near Mitch. She better be.
You know, Kristen be handing it to Maddie, though.
Shut it. Don't say that about our co-host. Kristen is the omnibus team. Yeah, Kristen.
No,
I think Kristen might be their strongest player on their team. Maybe Riley. Gabe's got his knowledge. And so does, I don't know, it'd be tough. Because you guys aren't caught up with recent stuff. It would be just me and Maddie.
Well, and Kristen, varies out what she reads.
She's into independent too.
Yeah, and she'd answer some of the independent questions I wouldn't get.
Let me find out how many StreamYard things we could have without destroying the internet, and we'll make that happen. Omar, top 10 horror themed books would be awesome. All right, Tina, you writing that down?
What?
Gosh, damn it, Tina.
Not Death. No, that's Tokyo Ghoul's really good. If you want like a horror
manga.
Yeah, manga. I mean, you've already done Junji Ito quite a bit.
Oh yeah. His work, not him personally. But yes, I have.
Oh, you're saving that for Chris Claremont, I know.
I'm not denying that. All right. What else? Let's see. What other kind of questions we got here? I want to get into Saga Yojimbo. Any advice? Which edition? The Fantagraphics is where it originally started. The Fantagraphics collection that collects the first 7 volumes of Usagi. But really, you could jump into the Saga, which is what I've showed on my channel. And I need somebody asked me for a link to the softcover version of that, and I forgot to put it on there. Softcover version is more accessible because the limited edition just went out of print so quick. So yes, you can go that way, or wait for IDW to actually start printing their books, which might be a while now because they're recoloring or coloring the books. So one thing to keep in mind is, I think things are going to be subject to change. So Omar, a Secret Wars Omnibus reprint. I haven't heard anything about it, but yeah, sure could happen. Have Jim Mint as the host. Wait, you don't think Jim Mint could join? I'll throw Jim Mint on their team. We don't. You know who the host is going to be? You guys. You all ask the questions. I think that'd be fun if the audience does the questions. God, but that stream would be. We would break the internet because we have way too many people on each team.
You'd have to pick like key players. Yeah, like do it.
Omar, you should take. It would be like what's it called? Debate team. We could put pick the best ones to represent you.
X-Men.
Omar should take questions from the chat. That's what I'm saying, man. If the chat asks the questions, then we know there's no funny business, right? And it would be like taking those online tests. You have to show your surroundings, make sure you don't have Google up anywhere or any cheat sheets.
Wouldn't you need like a referee? Just to be like, yes, you have this long. Go ahead, answer this question.
Nearman condition. Hey Omar, this top 10 new material omnibus for. Oh, thank you so much. Copying that because my co-host for some reason didn't copy it or write it down for me because she forgot she's not my secretary.
I'm not your secretary.
That's what I just said. Don't yell at me. We're doing a live show. Wait till later.
I'll get my wife on you. I don't yell at you.
Tina knows I love her. Do you collect toy statues? I watched your room tour and it looked like you have a Transformers collection. I do. Check it.
Yes. Spin that around, Omar. Like.
Well, I don't want to lose connection though.
Oh, you're hardwired in. Okay.
Yeah. I do that. So I'm just gonna extend over there.
What he's not showing you is beyond his second. He's got a secondary shelf.
I can't go that far with
omnibuses,
this.
And then beyond that, it's like Figure City. I mean, like I'm like go in and I mark sometimes with my finger on the dust, and I'm like, Omar, you need to clean this. But he's got too many figures.
You were so judgmental.
I am. I need to clean my shelf.
You read Love and Rockets yet? Nope, that's something I need to get back to. I told myself I would take a break from the channel for a week, and that hasn't happened. Maybe when things get back to normal. So I don't know. Do you think they'll make an X-Men events after? Yeah, of course. I think Fall of the Mutants and Inferno. I'm gonna put. I'm pushing for those to be reprinted as Omnis, but I don't have. It's not like I have any pull or anything. Those are just my suggestions. We all know Jess would crush him. Have you met Jess? He can't remember what he read last week. Holy cow, your collection never ends. We've only scratched the surface. Tina, they haven't even seen my video game room. Like, not that I have one like Rob's, but Rob, my anime and video game room is ridiculous.
I know you're like, go in and go find this. And I'm like, I'm looking at a wall.
It's in alphabetical order, Tina.
Some of it's off.
Buy a can of air, Omar. I do. I have 6 cans of air, but then that causes more dust, and I'm like, the dust just adds to the character.
Elsewhere. Like, you guys have not seen this collection.
Joseph, I find absolutes are the best for appreciation of art, but definitely interested in fables. Goodness, how many would there be? There would have to be like at least 150 issues, and if they include Jack of Fables. Tina, quick math. Let's say they do like, oh gosh, no, not even quick math. I guess 7 absolutes, baby. Omar, do your 2020 collection soon. I promise I will do that sometime later this year. That's going to come later this year. Jess is hustling by acting like he can't remember. I don't know. I've met him several times. I don't think he can. Amanda and Omar would kill the Marvel Universe, a book I would buy. Thank you, Hellboy. Tina, didn't recognize you.
Hey.
Do not tell my wife I should be cleaning during quarantine. That is not a good idea. Omar, I am reading X-Men Quest for Magic Collection. Are you excited for the Curse of the New Mutants movie? Oh, the Curse of New Mutants. I was like, the Curse of the Mutants. Actually, Amanda's the one that told me this, but apparently there is a contract where they cannot release it digitally. It actually has to release in theater. So for all of us hoping to see that on Hulu Plus or Disney Plus, it has to be released in a movie theater first, and then they can release it digitally. Which is, you're right, it is a cursed movie, sadly. Did you guys like The Incredible Hulk? If you crapped on that awesome movie, then I refuse to go back and watch it. No, we didn't crap on it. I loved it. I still think it has one of the best fights in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That fight in Harlem was freaking awesome. No, it wasn't like, it's just low. It's the lowest rated MCU movie, which it doesn't deserve it. There are worse ones, but that's another story. Omar, did you ever find the other Ghostbusters book? I got the 3rd, but still hoping for IDW to release the first 2. I did. Shout out to my boy Nash Villains. He found me a volume 2. My buddy Kyle got me volumes 1 and 3, so I got them. So shout out to Kyle as well. Much love, man. He was kind enough to get me the first 3. Just followed you on Insta, Tina. Didn't realize you are you are a cos. Oh gosh, Tina is the cosplayer of the group. Her and Maddie.
Maddie does cosplay and photography.
And she does the photography, yeah.
Mhm.
Does Diamond Select situation affect shipping new products to Amazon like new Wolverine Omni? No, because they don't affect Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, those places. They don't go through Diamond. They go directly through the publishing house, which is that would be in the case of Wolverine Hachette. Omar, it looks like the Hellboy library editions are going out of print. What's your thoughts on the Hellboy universe? Well, I chose it as one of my favorite top 10 favorite Dark Horse books. They're phenomenal, both BPRD and Hellboy, if you've never read them. Hellboy, if you get them in the library edition, I will say don't judge volume 1 too harsh. It's not until you get to the second volume that you understand where he's going with this. And you'll learn to appreciate that world building that he does, that it affects everything in BPRD. And there are times where BPRD is better than Hellboy. Speaking of the MCU, you think Spider-Man will lawyer up by hiring Daredevil? Or Matt Murdock, sorry, Secret Identity. I would love to see that. I just want to see Charlie Cox back as Daredevil because I love that dude. Hulk versus Abomination versus The Thing versus Juggernaut. Who would win? If we're going with comic books, Hulk. Tina?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm responding to a comment. Hulk versus
Eyes up here, Tina. Eyes up here.
Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut. Don't you remember? He got punched by the Gladiator. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Oh, man.
What was the best Claremont era X-Men spin-off title? Great question. And I'm going to say New Mutants. I love Excalibur and what it did, and X Factor had a rough start at first. But New Mutants, it was just interesting. From the moment that Bill Sienkiewicz joined, it was phenomenal. The Hulk is the correct answer. Correct, Lionheart. Do they want to see the lower half?
Yeah, Robert was like, can you? And I do have the whole half, but like literally, I'm wearing PJ bottoms. So
you cheater.
Comfort, guys. I'm not even wearing my band. That feels uncomfortable when you sit.
I got you, Tina. Well, your top half looks good.
Yeah, thanks.
So I've seen this cosplay before.
Hey, I mean, half the time TikToks, it's just waist up, so you really don't have to. I can't tell you how many cosplayers wear like PJs or shorts, and nobody realizes.
I wouldn't know. I don't have a TikTok account, nor do I need to go down that rabbit hole because otherwise I wouldn't make videos. I wouldn't have time to read or make videos. So, yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
Sure. I'll let you answer first. One. I'll highlight it.
What's your favorite book nobody's read?
Tina, what's your favorite book nobody's read? You didn't have an answer, huh?
No.
I think about it.
I'm thinking about it because I'm like, what has nobody read? Because if you're a manga fan, you've probably read some of the titles. Violinist of Hamlin never got a U.S. release, so you have to read scanlation. So, I mean, it's amazing. It's completely dark, but nobody's read it because it didn't get a U.S. release. What about you, Omar?
I was going to start doing a segment on my channel called Hidden Gems, where I just pick a random book out of, because I don't hear enough people talk about it. Whether it's a manga, whether it's an American book or European book. I was thinking of starting maybe with Marvel and DC. Or a couple of Marvel titles I can think of, like Nth Man. I don't think anybody's read Nth Man. Larry Hama, back in the late 80s, mid to late 80s. It's a solid read. The Hood by Brian K. Vaughan. It's phenomenal. 5 issues. And trying to think Squadron Supreme, but I think people love Squadron Supreme. That's not really a hidden gem. But yeah, I think it's harder now because we have, back in the day we had comic book shops and you could talk about it to them. And now we have the internet, right? So somebody out there somewhere has already read something that you're going to suggest. But, I was going to start doing a video series like that because people always ask me, like, what are some books that you recommend that not a lot of people talk about? And there's several.
Right. And you could say for manga, a lot of the stuff that you would recommend might be older titles that newer manga friends don't pick up. Like Noragami, it had a hiatus for a long time, so a lot of people dropped it or just didn't pick it up because it wasn't continuing. And now they've picked it up.
It's difficult for manga, right? Because some of the stuff is out of print and hard to find.
It is. Well, if you do, and I wish they had a better virtual collection than like Shonen Jump, but Shonen Jump's actually a pretty good resource if you get the app on your phone because you can go back to some of the older titles.
What's up, Jimmy Owens? Just wanted to highlight. I love my boy Jimmy. So, and we got a couple more questions, and then we got to start wrapping up a little bit. This channel has the most beautiful women, and Omar.
I know Dan's really pretty, isn't he?
He is. He might be our prettiest woman we have. We joke about that all the time.
I'm sorry. It's easy to take shots when they're not here.
Tina, what's your thoughts on the new streaming service Retro Crush? Is that the one that does the old school anime?
I haven't even heard of this. I'm going to have to look into it.
There was a title on there that I recognized that I was excited about. I'm like, oh, this is my kind of jam. Well, I can't believe you haven't heard about this.
No, because Crunchyroll, so I've got Crunchyroll and Funimation both. And both of them have some retro titles, and they'll release some retro titles.
This is strictly just retro. Check it out. See what's on. Because I know there's titles on there that you'll recognize that you're going to be like, man, that looks good.
Like old ADV stuff. And
yeah. Larry saying, nobody but me seems to have read Courtney Crumrin. And I'll be honest, I have not. Is that Blue Monday, Courtney? I don't know what Courtney has done, but I would love to look it up. What do you think of Deadly Class? Deadly Class is in my top 10 favorite Image titles, so I highly recommend it. It's wonderful. And sadly, doesn't get published fast enough because Remender. So hopefully we'll get him. Wasteland by Anthony Johnson, published by Oni Press, is definitely my favorite title that no one's read. Great post-apocalyptic world building. Ben, I ended up getting all of the hardcovers, and I haven't read them yet. I've heard wonderful things about it, and this is so stupid, but the reason I bought the hardcovers was I liked the way they looked, and somebody was selling them as a set. I had no idea what the internal artwork looked like, and that might be the stupidest way to buy books, and I don't recommend it. It's just something my dumbass does, but. So I'm excited to read them. Just got Squadron Supreme Omni, read James Robinson stuff, and loved that. Yeah, Squadron Supreme is solid. Like, I know a lot of people back then in the 80s were like, oh, this is just trying to be like Alan Moore's Watchmen. But no, there's a beauty to that book, that series. Mark Gruenwald, there's a reason why Mark Gruenwald's, when he passed away, his ashes were mixed into the ink that published that original trade paperback. So he loved that. That was his favorite book, and his wife honored.
That's hardcore.
And we talk about things we regret. I regret selling that copy. I have the omnibus, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna get the omnibus. I don't have the room at the time, and I had the trade paperback and sold it. Omar, which Marvel Omni will have the tight binding? Are you talking about the square? The square ones, the Wolverine, JMS2, and Black Widow have the square bind. But really, it wasn't that tight if you see my videos. Like, it wasn't as bad as some people. Damn it. Upgrade your soul. Upgrade soul. Maddie has been going on about that, and I told her I would read it, and I keep forgetting. Write that down, Tina. Okay. By the way, I do this to Tina in real life, and she never writes anything I say down.
No, because now I'll just associate it. I was like, oh, Soul Eater? Okay.
No, upgrade soul, Tina. Have you read Murder Falcon? I have the first trade. I haven't read it yet, but I know my Omni Bros really like it. Have you read it, Tina? Maddie?
No.
No, she didn't tell you. You sold Mark Grunwald. I sold my first trade paperback with his ashes mixed into the ink, and I regret that because going back.
Did you know at the time?
Oh yeah, because in the back of the book it says
Like you were like, I have a man's remains. Like,
but I don't mind that. If somebody
I will honor his memory by yoink. Yeet.
Shut up. I was getting the Omnibus when it was coming out. Damn it! I should have kept it. Why did I say it? Is Tina a Final Fantasy fan? Is water wet? Yes.
I mean, one of my cosplays is Freya from Final Fantasy IX. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Good. My daughter loves to make a special appearance down here. She's
playing with the mouse.
Okay. Dame un beso. Okay. I'll see you upstairs in a minute. We're almost done. Tina, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yes?
I haven't yet played it. Maddie has been on me like crazy. She's like, Tina, what's your problem? I need to get an external hard drive for my PlayStation. I do not have enough space. I've already had to remove a lot of games for other games. So it's waiting for that sweet, sweet stimulus money to come in to order external.
You better holler at your boy come November for that stimulus check.
Hey, I'm still working.
Omar,
I'm baby.
Omar, if you had a fire today, would you collect again? I think I've answered this question before, and that's a really good question. It's something I've thought about and something I've been asked before when people come down here, just because not just my books, but the statues. And I would say if I were to collect again, it would just be my books. Because there are some pieces of figures and mini statues that I have that are just completely irreplaceable. So I would just lose out on that and collect books again. And of course, some books are impossible to find too. So it would be whatever I could find.
What would be like the one thing that your first thing that you would collect or buy again if that happened?
We remember we did an episode on There's a Fire, or what was the episode called? It was a panel video we did a few years ago. It was like my house is burning or my face is burning. Yeah. And I said Uncanny X-Men Volume 1 because it's got signatures by people that are no longer with us.
But like if that burnt up, what would you collect again? Like what would you buy again? What would be the first thing that you would buy?
My Omnis again. Whenever they reprint them.
One title, the very first thing.
Uncanny X-Men. That's my go-to. Yeah, Volume 3 when it comes back. Omar would save his family and grab the X-Men. And in that order, just in case, in that order. Even with this pandemic going on, I notice it has had little to no effect on people buying massive hauls. To surprise you. No, not at all. Just because I know
it's a distraction. I think for a lot of people, they're trying to maintain a normalcy, and that's what is going to make them feel normal. A lot of times people will actually sacrifice buying like food and stuff so they have some type of normalcy. It gives them a sense of control in their life. Therapist Tina, sorry.
No, it makes perfect sense. Coming from a collector's perspective, you know, the term treat yourself always comes to mind because times are hard. You had a bad day. In a way, and I hate to compare it to almost like the reason to drink, right? Shit, I got fired from work. Let's go out drinking. Shit, I got a promotion at work. Let's go drinking. It's almost like that. Like, man, you know, I got let go. I need something happy and positive in my life, and these things bring me joy.
Right.
Or I got a promotion, or I'm moving. You know, whatever the occasion. Yeah, it's a really good point that you bring up.
And it's not bad. It's not the best ever. I mean, I'm sure people will eventually sacrifice. Like if they're out of a job and they're down to their last dollar, they're going to buy food. But in the initial, they're going to do something that makes them happy, and they should do that.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. So I don't, you know, people are like, why are you blowing your stimulus check on this and this? And I'm like, dude, Buy what makes you happy. Why are you in people's business?
Cigarettes? Like,
well, why are you in people's business to begin with? Like, if it brings somebody joy to do that, then don't judge other people by what they get. That's why I never fault anybody for, when they ask me like, should I get this omnibus that's out of print? I always say to wait. But if you have the means, and if it brings you happiness to have the Jonathan Hickman Omnis, FF Omnis, then by all means, do it. Get them. Who am I to judge you for spending $300 on a book? It's your money. I'm just a dude on the internet.
Yeah,
I offer not.
It might not be important to somebody else, but
and obviously, I'm not the biggest person to judge on what to. I mean, my co-hosts on my channel know that whenever they feel like they need to buy something, like Maddie has texted me, Rob, Dan, and I think Tina might be the only one that hasn't. They know that if they text me with Omar, I'm debating on getting this. It's this much money, whether it's Maddie with statues or Dan with a transformer. They know to text me because my answer is going to be like, shit, damn well you texted the wrong. I'm going to tell you to buy it. So you buy that thing.
I asked my wife first.
Which is smart.
Which I finally did get the Magic Knight Rares collected.
Good. I'm glad you did.
It's gorgeous. I was actually worried because I heard some misprints on some of the books where they had flipped, but everything turned out great. There are some misprints where some of the sections had been flipped.
Right. So one of and the second box set of that comes out later this year too. All right, go upstairs. I live in New York. Nothing is guaranteed. Lots of people have been laid off, indefinitely furloughed. I'm very cautious with mine. Yeah. And you do that, man. And like, I'm not telling you to go blow your money on anything. I'm just saying you can be cautious, but also, be good to yourself.
There's a difference between people who are freshly laid off and people who get the word that they are going to be extended or long-term. There's definitely a difference in expenditure as far as their disposable income and when that disposable income becomes not disposable.
Let's see. My sons and I have a fire evacuation plan. They know what to. That's not a bad idea. With their tiny little hands, Lydia and Alicia could get these statues in the back, and I'll focus on my books.
You're like,
my wife is like, "Where's the cat?" And I'm like, "Forget the cat. I don't have that much room in my arms." Somebody was asking me earlier if I let people touch my books. Omar, do you lend books to your friends? Do you swear under? Yes, I do let people read my books. There are books that I'm like, if they're out of print, like my brother, for example, I love my brother to death. He's a smoker, but he smokes only outside. But my Berserk, when I let him borrow, have come back to me like they've been in a flood. And I always do you read these in the bathtub? And my brother, I love him, and he doesn't ever feel guilty about it. He's like, got a little rain on them or something. But one of the things that from now on, I'm like, look, you are more than welcome to borrow this, but I'm going to show you the online going price, not what I pay for it or what the retail is. I'm showing you the online going price for this. Something happens to this book, this is how much I want. I say I don't want money. I want you to get it for me. So there's an understanding that if something happens to my book, and with my brother,
And you have a smart plan too. Like you take the slip covers so that you know that you've lent
which
it
books
out.
are out. Yeah. So obviously,
Well, you've done that before. So Omar's let me, and here's the thing. I'm going to tell a story on myself. Omar's let me, which X-Men run was it? Was it Buffy? I can't even think it. Anyways, he lent me an X-Men book, which was fine. He kept the cover, and that's how I knew he did that. But the other thing that he let me borrow was the other. It's not Cheese Sweet Home. It's that Michael. What's
Michael? Mm-hmm.
What's Michael? And I spilled a little bit of coffee on it.
Tina.
And I was a nervous wreck. Like I was going on eBay to find this book because I had spilled something on a friend that a friend lent me. And I know how much Omar's a collector. I was panicking and I was like, Omar, will buy
you didn't replace me the book. And I remember how guilty you felt.
Yeah. I was like, I'm so sorry. I will buy you. And you were laughing. You're like, it's fine.
On that, something like that, I don't mind. But that's why, sometimes with these things that are out of print, I'm like, read it online. There's digital versions out there somewhere.
Yes, Astonishing X-Men. I think it was.
Yes, Astonishing X-Men, the Joss Whedon stuff.
Yeah, because I kept making fun of
the facial expressions.
the facial expressions.
I'll
Cyclops.
never forget that. Omar, did you back the new Dreadstar Kickstarter? Went up 3 days ago. No, I did not, but thanks for letting me know, and I'll check it out. Been burned by Kickstarter before. I don't have a good... It's like 50-50 with me.
I never had a problem.
We talked about this before, me and Dan, because we both have pretty big... He has a big collection of Transformers, and I have a big collection of video games, and neither one of us go out of the way to get it overly insured, and I know that's something I need to look into. And hey, I didn't mean to remove you. I just got excited that you were
You
back
guys
on.
are still here.
Well, Tina and I had a lot more questions coming, so I ain't doing anything. I mean,
I got to my computer and I was like,
it's not like we're going out anywhere. Like,
My wig headache is coming on.
did you get dressed up just for this, or did you do TikToks, Tina?
I'm also going to do TikToks
Okay.
later, but I actually really wanted to get into cosplay because they're always like, you need to get in cosplay. And I'm like, guys, you don't understand how flippin' long it takes.
Right.
You've told
Like
me
Andrew's
before.
like, hey, can you film something real fast? And I'm like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow because I'm gonna get makeup for it. And he's like, well, I'm gonna post it tomorrow at this time. I'm like, so I was up till 4 a.m. in the morning.
Tina. Girl.
Because you don't just do makeup and then that's it. Like spend an hour, 2 hours on makeup, and then you're like, oh, well, I'll just take it off after I film 5 seconds. No, you don't do that.
Oh, Lord.
That's why I slept all day the other day.
Tina, while I have you here, I want you to read these. Witch Hat Atelier.
Oh, those look so good. I've been wanting to read those.
I really like them. I have 2 more left to read, but when I'm done, you should come over and pick them up, or I'll drop them off.
Are they
in
Korean
front of your
or
house?
Japanese?
Huh?
Korean or Japanese?
It's Japanese. It's Kodansha.
Okay.
It's by Kamome Shirahama. She also did some of the covers for Batgirl and Birds of Prey, which I really like. Some of the variants. I really like it.
I've been wanting to check that out because I really
What?
love it. I love that artwork. Means you had your coffee. You're all ready to
well,
talk.
actually, I just now made it because I went to go make lunch and shower and stuff. And like, I managed to do all of that, and y'all are. And then I thought I made coffee. This is my ADHD. I thought I made it. And I went to go back and get it, and I had just opened up the Keurig and not done anything with it. What the fuck?
Maddie.
ADHD plus quarantine, where like time doesn't exist, is a very dangerous combination.
Just have
Gotta
Elliot do it.
Set your alarm.
He's
Omar-
getting his oil changed.
Do your ORNR on the upcoming She-Hulk Omnibus. It is a hoot. I've read it before, and I want to. I don't even know what's going on with that omnibus. I don't know if it's out yet.
I'll be right back.
Sure. We were about to wrap up, Maddie, and then you came back.
I'm about to jump off. I just
You just want to say hi? Okay.
Yeah. Hey.
I know that the omnibus was originally supposed to come out in April, but then it got delayed. So I'll ask again if that book is out or still coming out in time. Do you know where I can buy the Transformers Classic by Marvel? Sean, I think it was you that reached out to us, wasn't it? The IDW one? And you want the one with the black cover. Is everybody leaving me? Maddie left? Okay. That one is the one that has all the reprinted stuff like Spiderman and all the stuff that you need. So let me look for it. And if I find it, I will leave it in the comments. I know it's out of print. So yeah. Sorry, I got a little lost here with the conversations. Witch Hat has fully realized backgrounds too. Beautifully drawn book. I can't wait to read that. Dan Devil is left. Maddie Redux is also left. Apparently, and Tina went to go get a cat or something. Omar, the Kickstarter is by Jim Starlin himself, the group that did the Omnibus you reviewed. I feel they're too expensive. I ended up getting the Omnibus through the German website, the German Amazon website. And it was the equivalent of like $70 instead of the $300. I don't know if that was a price mistake or not, but something like Italian, Amazon Italy, and Amazon Germany both honor the price, and they were in English, as you saw. Thoughts on Chew, one of my top 10 favorite Image books. It is excellent. Damn, bro. Everyone left. Omar. Right. I was like, Maddie's here, and then she left. I was like, all right. The Transformers UK hardcover is still around, a monthly collection. So those are the ones that are done by what's it called, right? Like subscription, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, hey, you didn't answer. Who gets to keep the review copies? David sends you. Draw straws. Captain says shoot. If it means something to somebody in my group, I give it to them. Like Maddie got the Annihilation Omnibus, the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. If it's X-Men, it's usually me. Or if I have it, if it's a reprint, I give it away on our channel, which is part of the reason why some of you all have been getting stuff. We have giveaways on our channel. We were going to have a big 20,000 subscription giveaway, but this happened. So hopefully when we can all get together again, we'll have a big giveaway for everybody to participate in. Maybe we'll do a live chat again or something like that. Omar, when will IST have Uncanny X-Force back in stock? Well, it was supposed to be in May, but I don't know. I really don't. And if Diamond is going to start sending books out again, then probably middle of May again. Omar, can you ask David what's the idea with the Spider-Man Byrne Omnibus mapping? Sure, I can ask him. You mean, I don't think he had anything to do with the mapping, though. I think they wanted a John Byrne-centric omnibus, and sadly, half of this, not even half, probably like a third of the stories got, they continued into the other run that he didn't work on. I didn't know UXF was getting back in stock, so I bought the trade paperbacks. Ah, man, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was just the initial printing, and it just went out of stock so quick. So, yeah, Hatchet does that. So we'll take a couple more questions, and then we're gonna wrap up because I gotta eat some lunch. And
I know that's what I was.
Tina was about to pass out on me, and that's why she had to go get.
I had to pee like nobody's business. I drank this whole thing full of coffee twice over. So sorry.
That's okay, Tina. TMI
Nothing's
Tina
sacred.
is also her nickname.
Nothing is sacred with me. I don't.
Any ideas if the Bendis Daredevil Omnibus reprint is out of stock? That's just out of stock. It will be back. That was supposed to be the middle of April, but again, things happened and it slowed everything down. So I'm sure it will be back. Lewis, what was your question? Please let me. Oh, sorry. Cosplay rule. Lewis Murphy, please ask the question again. Oh, sorry. No, I got it. Right? That was the Daredevil question. I want a Man of Steel's and Legends Byrne Omnibus. Yes, man. Me too. Tina is an open book. She is. And with that, we're going to go ahead and end this segment because we've been on for over 2 hours and we love you all so much. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are located, whether it's in Europe, South America, Asia, Australia, here in North America, wherever you are. Much love to you all, and please, everybody, stay healthy and safe. Check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com. They have a lineup of books coming out this week. I think Hellblazer, Swamp Thing by Nancy Collins. They're getting Wolverine, a couple of other books. They had to get from other places, not Diamond, because Diamond, I don't know. They apparently will come back in May, maybe or maybe not. So, if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments down below. If you weren't able to catch us live, don't forget to hit like, subscribe. If you
really, really like us, hey, join our Patreon.
There we go. Thank you, Tina. If you really like us and can do so.
So yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that. So yes, wash your hands. So everybody, please stay healthy and safe out there, and much love to you all. I'll be back with a video tomorrow. So
take care, guys.
Thank you.